Today is one of those days where, as someone who likes to educate themselves about the world and the strange inconsistencies and some of the anxieties that can be brought up with seeing current world events, this is just one of those days where I feel like it really hit me hard. And I'm not just referring to Charlie Kirk getting shot. I was walking because as a science teacher, I was heading on my way to a meeting, and one of my students stops me along the way and she said, "Hey, Miss K, did you hear Charlie Kirk was shot?" And for me, immediately, I felt as if my heart dropped. Not because I'm the biggest Charlie Kirk fan, but because when I first started my journey as an adult trying to educate myself about the world, about politics, about current world events, about building my own voice, I did watch a lot of Charlie Kirk's videos. And what really hurt is the fact that though Charlie Kirk is controversial and people can tend to feel a certain way about him, he was still someone who went out of his way to try to educate people, whether you agreed with his beliefs or not. And he was unafraid to just take the mic and do that. And the beautiful thing about being in the United States of America compared to other countries is the fact that you can feel free, or at least that's what we thought, right? You can feel free to share your opinions, regardless of whether people agree with you or not, without the fear of having to be shot. And guys, honestly, what truly breaks my heart about this is that we are in the era of podcasters. We are in the era of influencers. And to have someone speak out their voice and to be shot because of it, it's instilling anxiety and further division amongst the public. Like right away when Kirk was shot, we had reporters and they were immediately, or journalists, especially journalists, who immediately started saying the conservatives were like, the leftists did this, the liberals did this, right? And then we had the people on the left saying, well, we've been telling you, literally a man just died, and then someone from the left is posting a video talking about, well, we've been telling you guys this forever. We've been talking about not electing these people so that we can have more control over this gun violence and everything going on. You guys only care when it's the conservative. And I'm literally like, guys, enough with the politics, enough with trying to use a tragedy to make an example of your point. Guys, like, I'm saying this with all my heart. Let's not fight. Right now is not a time to fight. I'm going to tell you right now that all of this discontempt, all of this sowing division amongst the people is 100% intentional. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, first, I'm going to talk a little bit about my thoughts about Charlie Kirk getting shot and also other events you may not be aware of that happened today as well. But towards the end, then I will share my opinion. Then I will share more about my faith and my beliefs about this whole situation and what I believe the spiritual warfare that's actually happening in our world and why I believe that you should care about learning about it. But first and foremost, my heart goes out to Charlie Kirk's family because he has a little girl and a little boy. They're little. They're not like teenagers. And even if they were teenagers, that would be such a tragedy to have to go through that. And he was someone that he went through this because he had a separate opinion. And I have more to share on that. But guys, this is not a time to be rejoicing. This is not a time to point fingers and to start blaming. We right now should blame no one. None of us grabbed the gun and shot him. None of us asked for this to happen. Yes, we may disagree with what some of the stuff that he promoted, but he was still someone who was an example to show that you can speak out your opinion. And even if people don't agree with you, this is the United States of America, where you have the freedom of speech to be able to share what you feel is to be the truth. And I believe that by having Charlie Kirk getting shot, this is forever going to change the culture of our influencer era. I think this is going to make people more scared to want to share their opinions. I think this is going to make conservatives, they're going to radicalize them. It's going to make them even angrier. I think this is going to increase violence, especially if we continue to point fingers at each other. My fellow Christians, now's the time to be praying, whether you agree with Charlie Kirk or not. We are called to pray, to share the message of Jesus Christ. And praise the Lord that now we know that, like, because he was a believer, that his family has the hope to see him again. Okay. However, to talk about this farther, take it a little step farther here, Guys, this isn't just a video dedicated to Charlie Kirk. There's something very strange going on in our world, and I don't know how to put my finger to it. And especially those who are prayer warriors, really, really pay attention to the stuff I'm going to share today, because it's stuff that's been on my heart for a very long time. And so, obviously, there's a lot going on all over our world. Today, Charlie Kirk was shot, but he wasn't the only one that suffered through a shooting. Today in Colorado, specifically in Evergreen High School in Colorado, the Colorado foothills, there was a shooting that happened. So let me go ahead and read this. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office says the suspect was in the hospital after having shot 2 kids who are in critical condition, and also inflicted injuries on himself as well. The shooting took place at 12:30 p.m. at the school located on, you guys know, Evergreen, and it's just 28 miles southwest of Denver. Jackie Kelly, the public information officer for the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, told reporters they began to receive numerous calls about a shooter at a school around 12:24 p.m. She later stated that the deputies were on the scene within 2 minutes and made contact with the shooter within 5 minutes. She said no law enforcement officers fired any weapons. This is just so crazy to me. How, and obviously a lot of people say this is coincidental, but how is it possible that we have so much gun violence happening in one day? Everyone's going to immediately start to point fingers, but for one moment, can we clear our minds and not point fingers and genuinely ask, why is there so much violence going on? And like, we have this shooting that happened today, which prayers for the families. Truly, that's heartbreaking. We have Charlie Kirk getting shot, which, by the way, was an insanely professional shot right here where the jugulars are. You could see it in the video where the blood gets sprayed everywhere as he's in the middle of talking about gun violence. No joke. He was in the middle of talking about gang violence, and he gets shot in that moment. And our world is stunned. Right now, everyone's in shock. Right now, I even thought about not making this video because I was just so heartbroken to see what was going on. In case you forgot, another event that happened recently. This was also not that long ago as well. In New York City, I'm sure you guys heard of the deadly stabbing that happened of the Ukrainian refugee. I'm going to go ahead and read this. A deadly stabbing of a Ukrainian refugee in North Carolina last month has sparked outrage amongst elected officers, including President Donald Trump, and local authorities released videos of the attack. So it was in Charlotte's area transit system. Police say that the 23-year-old Irina Zarukska, I don't want to mispronounce her name, Zarukska, who fled the war in Ukraine only to be killed in an apparent random attack on August 22nd, long record of criminal charges and psychiatric crisis. The suspect was 34-year-old DeCarlos Brown Jr., who had served time in the prison, been briefly committed for schizophrenia, and was arrested earlier this year after repeatedly calling 911 from a hospital. You know what's crazy is that this happened about a month ago, but it was only not even a week ago that the footage was released. So we have this footage of this woman getting stabbed. We have Charlie Kirk getting shot, which immediately sparked conflict amongst the left and the right, dividing us further. The shooting that's happening with schools consistently, way more often, which if you look at other countries, they're like, yeah, that's a United States thing. Like, school shootings don't happen anywhere near as often in other countries. What in the world is happening? And you look at other countries, and then this is so strange to me, because now I'm officially going to transition. If right now I'm just educating you of what's been going on. If you don't care to listen to this next part of the video, feel free to turn this video off. And I just pray that you not argue with people, that you keep your opinions to yourself, at least for a little while, that you can wish the best for the family who's left over of what's going on. And that if you're a Christian, that you can pray for our world because of this fear of being able to speak your mind without having, that of what just happened to Charlie Kirk. Right now is the time for us to be united as humans, regardless of your political views. I asked for that. I asked for prayers for the schools. I asked for prayers for as they continue to investigate this whole thing that happened with the stabbing as well. One last thing, if you guys remember, it's so crazy how much has been going on in our world. We see Texas. Texas went through a flooding, which was insane as well. We see the war that has not stopped going on between Israel, Palestine. And this is actually where I'm going to transition. So if you no longer want to hear this next part, which is solely my opinion, and immediately what I sort of think is happening within the spiritual realm, and as well as the creed in human heart, then feel free to shut off the video now. I think that this is so strange that all of these events that are going on continue to divide us further. It's almost, and just hear me out for 1 second, because I don't actually know where I stand with this. Okay. It feels to me like all of this gun violence that's being thrown in our faces is really snowballing and coming to a sort of climax that really is putting fear amongst the public. You guys want to know what I truly fear? I truly fear living in a world where we're not allowed to own guns. And I don't mean this in a way of trying to say I think we should restrict guns or I think we should have less restrictions. I don't actually know the answer to that, and I'm not going to claim that. I fear a world where the government says, oh, well, everyone's too scared, and because of fear, we give up our rights. And then all of a sudden, we're not allowed to own specific kind of guns. And then slowly over time, that turns into like, you guys, you do not want to surrender that power to the government. Our freedom to be able to defend ourselves literally comes because other countries have prevented their people from defending themselves. And if you can't defend yourself, guys, the only people who are going to have access to weapons like those is going to be the government, and you do not want to be caught in one of those situations. I have a fear of that. It's like a million birds, one stone, guys. If you want to get rid of gun control or trying to really get smack down on gun control, cause all of these gun violence situations to happen. Divide the people farther so we can continue arguing with ourselves. The stabbing that like the journalist didn't want to talk about because the man happened to be Black and the woman happened to be white, and nobody wants to show that. Further dividing the public, okay? And the craziest part is that while all this is happening in the Middle East, we have Trump trying to work with Israel, and as well as what's going on with Gaza. They want to take siege of the city. They want to take control of the city. They have already sent an evacuation order. I believe that was yesterday or 2 days ago. They sent an evacuation order so that the citizens of Gaza can evacuate because they're trying to reach a truce. But what they really want is that they want to take control of the city. And I'm going to tell you the reason why I believe that's really happening. All because of greed. I don't actually think they give a crap about the people of Gaza. Regardless of how you feel about that, regardless of whether you're a Zionist, regardless of whether you're someone who wants Hamas destroyed or you want the people of Gaza to be safe and you don't want violence, I believe that the reason why they're doing this is because of something called the IMEC corridor. Let me describe what the IMEC corridor is. Benjamin Netanyahu, who is the prime minister of Israel, has actually spoken of this long ago, okay? It's called the Indian Middle East Europe Economic Corridor. It's going to be a multinational infrastructure project that's intended to boost economic development. It basically runs between Asia, the Arabian Gulf, and Europe, connecting, making it a lot smoother to do trade. And amongst that is going to be oil as well as gasoline. Why does this matter? Because our world is, the people who you think are in charge of the world are not really the people who are in charge of the world. You think Trump is the worst of them? You think Vladimir Putin is the worst of them? You think that Hillary Clinton is the worst of them? They are simply puppets. These are all people who are put in place, and this is where I'm going to get into the more conspiracies. So disclaimer on this. A lot of these people have been conditioned to be into the positions that they are right now. These are people whom the devil is using to divide us farther, to get us to give into our fear. And my fellow Christians, we are not called, the spirit of fear is not of God. Spirit of fear is solely from the devil. And what they want is for us to fight amongst each other, divide amongst each other, be scared, be angry at each other. Because what happens when we fear and we don't know what to do? We surrender all of our freedom to the government so that they can do it for us. And say that we don't agree with what's happening in Gaza. Hey, it's their land. They were there first. Well, guess what? All they have to do is fill up the media with Charlie Kirk getting shot. There's school shootings happening left and right. The stabbing that's happening in the subway. All of these natural events that are going on with weather. And everyone's so distracted arguing with each other, so scared of what's going on, that it distracts us from what's happening in Gaza. Which you may say, I don't care what's happening in Gaza. Sure, let them take it and create their IMEC corridor because it runs straight through the Gaza Strip, and they need that. Here's the thing, guys. The people who, I'm going to say this again, the people who you think are in charge of the world are not really the people who are in charge of the world. The people who actually are the rulers of this world are elites who care a lot about arms trafficking. They care a lot about selling these weapons. They care a lot about trading their oil. They care a lot about trading gasoline. They only care about money. Because when they focus on that, you really think they're going to stop at Gaza? These are not Christians. These are not people that care about the well-being of you or your family or your freedoms or your health. These are people who, one by one, as they distract us with all of these very sad, tragic things happening in the world, they're slowly moving through. Working alongside the United States, they've destroyed, obliterated Iraq, obliterated the economy in Afghanistan, Syria, Gaza. What's next? And if you really think for a second that as Christians, we shouldn't be praying and preaching the message of Jesus Christ now more than ever, while prophecy is being fulfilled right before our very eyes, now's not a time to be fighting. And if you're watching this and you're like, you know what? I'm not even a Christian. I don't believe in God. I don't care about this. Regardless of what the beautiful quote I heard, and this is from a really great book I read from someone who worked in the Navy and they had top security clearance. I'll just leave it at that. Just because you don't believe in it doesn't mean that the people who are evil and behind all this, that they believe in it. And so long as they believe in it, their actions are going to show accordingly. So if you think that just because you don't believe in God, that none of this is actually happening and that there isn't a spiritual warfare happening, just because you don't want to believe it's real doesn't mean that it's not happening. And it's crazy because right now, all of this discontempt, all of this fear is literally on purpose to try to make us be scared, to try to get us to fill up with arguments amongst each other instead of being able to sit down logically, calmly, so that we can so we can actually understand each other, see eye to eye. All of that is on purpose. And all while this is happening, people are saying, oh, unidentified objects in the air, or formerly known as UFOs. Oh my gosh, we have this sighting over here. Oh my gosh, we have this footage. Oh my goodness, there's all this weird weather stuff going on and all of that. Because if you can get people scared enough and arguing enough, we don't think logically. COVID was the best example of that, when everyone was punching each other over toilet paper. We shouldn't feel so attached to our political views and the way we were raised that we decide to turn to violence to other people. It should never be that way. If we disagree with each other, what is great conflict resolution strategies? We stop speaking to each other. We take a moment to breathe. We take a moment to be calm and say, I understand you believe differently from me, but we're still human. And because a human is hurting, that hurts us all, regardless of your race, your ethnicity, your nationality, your political views. It doesn't matter. We're all human, guys. We're all in this same struggle together. And about the Charlie Kirk thing, that was a professional shot. That was intentional. In fact, that was his first day doing his the new traveling tour that he was going to do. Right now there's a rise in a lot of conservative views and conspiracy theories and all this stuff, and Charlie Kirk is one of the faces of the Republican Party. To shoot him is so intentional. And for it to be here and you really think that they caught the shooter right away. The guy they arrested, by the way, if you look it up, he's not actually the guy. They released him already. For it to be such a skilled and precise shot like that, this entire thing smells of Manchurian Candidate. For those of you who don't know what Manchurian Candidates are, whether you want to believe it or not, it exists. Our government has figured out a way to be able to not only brainwash people, but they developed the techniques to be able to train someone to go on a task. And yes, look it up. Manchurian Candidates are real. That all the documents are online. You could literally even Google it. Or they can send people off in a war or on a specific assassin task, have them shoot someone, and then not even remember that they did it. An example of a Manchurian Candidate that I believe with all my heart was one of the very few political figures I genuinely admired, and that was Robert F. Kennedy. No, not the son, the father, where the guy shot him and later on was like, I don't remember doing it. I don't remember doing it. I don't remember doing it. Or JFK as well. Another famous that I believe is a Manchurian Candidate, where he shot and he says, like, I'm innocent. I don't remember doing this. I don't remember doing this. The MK Ultra program is a real thing. The government has figured out a way to use substances such as LSD to be able to brainwash people in order to get them to do things then which later they can extract these memories. I hate to say this, guys. This stuff exists. Trust me, I'd much rather prefer to live in a world where this stuff doesn't exist. And the fact that this was very skilled shot towards Charlie Kirk and it to be very intentional. Go online right now. See how much it's blowing up. See how much people are fighting each other. That immediately all of this stuff is turning, like Laura Loomer, for example. Oh, well, the left is now attacking the right. This isn't about the left or the right. Someone's intentionally trying to cause us to fight with each other, guys. Something very nefarious is happening in our world. Now is the time more than ever to preach the gospel that Jesus is coming back. Now is the time for us to be praying for each other. In fact, I challenge you on this. You feel angry towards someone you see online, pray for that person. Pray for those who persecute us. We shouldn't be wishing the demise of people. I've been thinking of making this video for a while, but what really sparked this catalyst in me is seeing what happened to Charlie Kirk, seeing all of the shootings and all the crazy stuff happening in our world. It's almost like we're being conditioned to always be on the edge of our seat. Now I'm getting used to, guys, where I go online and I immediately try to find out what's happening in the news because so much craziness is happening. Don't forget, keep your eyes on what's happening in Gaza. These people, oh, these people. Father God, I pray with all my heart for these people who are starving, who are going through these things. And yes, people they elected Hamas. Do they have any more control over that being mostly children any more than we did of Trump getting elected or of Joe Biden getting elected? How does that make sense? You think because of that they deserve that to happen to them? And this isn't even to hate on Zionists or to hate on people who are on the pro-Israel side. It's just the heart. It's just the heart of humanity to be hurting alongside these people. Pray for these people the elites out there, who are genuinely finding joy in the pain of others. To be happy to see all of us fighting and feeling anxiety. Pray for them, for their time is near. The time is near when judgment shall come, and they will be crying for the very rocks to fall upon them. For the Lord sees all. And there's not one thing that you will leave this life not having paid for. That I believe with all my heart. Blessings to you all. One last thing. To the Republicans, the ones who said they supported Charlie Kirk, I know some of y'all sold him out. I know the right is in on it just as much as the left. The whole point is to literally conquer and divide and conquer. Everyone, continue to share your opinions freely. Do not ever let your fear dictate the ending of the podcast and the influencer era, because freedom of speech is the only thing we have left. Before a government, that's what happens. A government takes over in the name of safety. No, these podcasters are so crazy. That's why they're getting shot left and right. No. Our freedom of speech first. Everything else after. I just have a huge feeling that Charlie Kirk's own friends are the ones who sold him out on this. We're not going to let you divide us. My generation, Gen Z and younger, we're not stupid. We're intelligent. We see what these people are doing to try to divide us, and it's not going to work. Too many of us are awake to it now. That's all I wanted to share. Blessings, guys. Take care. Let's not fight. Let's pray. Let's understand each other. And meditate and relax and calm ourselves and try to make the world a better place.